All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our second ever Troy Olds Live, Tuesdays with Troy. Now, this Tuesdays with Troy is a conversation that we're having. We're really looking to just share amazing people that we all know, inside and outside of Outsourced Lifestyle. For those of you who are watching this off channel, who are not part of Outsourced Lifestyle is a company that deals specifically and directly with Amazon. Teaches people how to drop ship with Amazon, and we can get into that. It's amazing. It's the most amazing way for someone to actually sit behind their computer and earn money, like we've all hoped and been told we can through network marketing and internet marketing. And what I found, having personal experiences in all those areas, is that not always what they say. And in my experience, I found I met Jason O'Neill. Jason O'Neill's a brilliant kid, guy, man, friend, and partner now, who he found a niche. I found a niche that I wasn't even looking at anymore. I was part of the .com boom, and then I forgot about it for the past 17 years. And Jason found this in with the largest brand on the planet, which is Amazon. So Tuesdays with Troy is a way for us to actually, again, meet people who are no BS, who are going to tell you the truth about things. All business is hard. If you're an employee and you're coming into this space, it's going to be the hardest thing you ever did. Business is hard, and you're told that it's easy. It's not easy. But I promise you this: Amazon and working with Jason is the easiest thing you're ever going to do in business. So get clear what I'm saying. If you're looking to earn money from your computer, behind your computer in bunny slippers, and work your face off, dropshipping is it. And you don't have to take my word for it. Go join some network marketing companies. Go invest in some internet marketing companies. And you'll realize that internet marketing is 10 people. It's possible. But again, understand, if you're not a copywriter, know how to drive traffic, you don't know how to code, you don't know how to put all the funnels together. And then, frankly, it's going to be a long learning curve. Not impossible, very possible. And we can show you how to do that too. The key is, if you want to get money out of the way so you can start going on to different more meaningful things in your life, then there's no doubt that this is it. So that's out of the way. So the intention is to leverage the relationships that I've created, been blessed to meet through amazing masterminds over the past few years, and leverage other people, good friends, relationships as well. So our intention is to have guys like Neil Strauss on this hangout in the future. Neil Strauss writes for Rolling Stone. Obviously, we want to get Tim Ferriss on here. I want to get Michael Bledsoe, who started Barbell Shrugged a couple of years ago and became one of the top-rated fitness and gym podcasts in the country. I want to get Ben Greenfield. Ben Greenfield at the top of iTunes with health and fitness. I want to talk to folks who have been there. I want to get my friend Albert Bradley, and my friend Steve Kozara. Nobody knows about Steve Kozara because Steve Kozara wants it that way. Steve Kozara is the second largest manufacturer of hot saunas in the country, and the guy does incredibly well. Lives right here in Idaho. He's the only recipient of the Edison Award for Innovation in Idaho, and that award was handed to him by Elon Musk. Okay, so this is a good friend of mine. Kimberly and I go have dinner at their home, and we're just blessed because entrepreneurs tend to find other entrepreneurs because everybody else has a different language, right? Entrepreneurs understand, what it takes. And so when Steve and I meet one another, we see one another in the hall, we get excited and rush and hug one another because that's our people. They know what we've all been through. And the gentleman to my right here, Albert Bradley. Say hi, Albert Bradley. Albert Bradley, I've known for years, and we got together in an app project about 4 years ago. And Albert was one of those guys that is a hustler and ambitious and driven and knows what it takes to build a business. We became instant friends, worked together. I got to see that this guy is one of the hardest working people I've ever met. And I'm that guy who I work incredibly hard to live a lazy lifestyle, which means I still go bell to bell. So the two of us, we shared our skill sets, and we earned some money together in some business projects. And then we've also done our own independent projects. And I watched Albert over the past couple of years, probably 3 years ago, lock arms into a product called Rhino Rush. Those of you who are in the local area, how far spread is this? Is it across country now?
Nationwide now.
Nationwide.
Coast to coast. You got 7-Eleven, Fred Meyer, Albertsons, Jackson's, all of them.
Jackson, Chevron.
All kinds of gas stations, grocery stores,
Rosars,
for those
right?
of you in the Northwest.
Rosars, Albertsons. I mean, those are big names.
Yeah.
And I saw now, so it's an energy shot. No longer his company, sold out. But I watched him build this company from a phone room in the building that I was in, still am in, and he just scaled it. And they just pounded phones. And can you kind of share, Albert, a little bit about that experience? Because again, this is about entrepreneurs and what it really takes.
Well, like you were saying earlier, it's not easy at all. It took a clear vision on my side. I had to get absolutely clear with what I wanted, and I had to believe that beyond a shadow of a doubt, no matter what that day held, is that I was going to keep getting up and going and getting after the goal that I had in my mind. And I made it really clear. I made it really clear that I wanted it coast to coast. I wanted it in every gas station, in every supermarket, because I saw what the competitors were doing, and we had a far superior product. And so a lot of my belief came from what was in the bottle. And so when you've got a great product and you know it, and other people edify that through their experience, it made it a lot easier for me to get out of bed every day, because I had a lot of testimonies and a lot of people that really just believed like I did that this was something special. We had to go through a lot of headaches and a lot of growing curves and borrowing money that I wasn't comfortable borrowing.
I know his wife. It wasn't
yeah,
comfortable.
Yeah, no.
She's awesome.
No, she's a bulldog, man, and she hates it going backwards. And you have to go backwards sometimes to go forwards, and that's no bullshit. I mean, I had to go deep in debt on this particular project. That's not always the case, but I had to go backwards to go forwards, and it was I considered it a foundational approach to going up. You have to build a nice foundation, is how I looked at it. And sometimes that foundation is not pretty, and it's built with a lot of different pieces that you didn't expect you were going to use a lot of material. And what I mean by material is the people that I had in place that had to work for practically free for the first year and a half. And you don't always pull in the highest caliber sales guys in the industry when you're building with little money. So I guess I had to get clear, and then they had to buy into my vision, and those guys had to show up every day for very little payout, but it paid off. And then they believed in that vision that I had. And so it was exciting to see. There was a day that I felt like I had made it. It's like I finally got this thing when I found the investors that were buying the company for me, and it was going to go to the next level. And so there will be a day where you kind of feel like this, oh my God, this is what I imagined it to be, moment. And it may not happen for everybody that way, but I had a moment where it was like just unreal, surreal. Yeah, surreal. Like 3 years it took me to get to that point where all of a sudden my inside head was looking at my outside. They were matching. They were pretty dang close to what I had imagined. Pretty excited.
Can you? And for those of you, I assure you, I want to keep my focus on Albert. I'm checking out there to see if this is showing up and streaming live for everybody. This is obviously recorded, but I want to make sure that we are getting this out there for everybody. So I'm not being rude.
No worries.
So, but I want to.
I'm here for you, man.
Cool. Well, as you can see, this is my home office. Got the whole world in my hand, and we're just going to keep it really loose here. But I want to know what that was like for you, Albert, when you were. Because I remember you were talking about Rhino Rush, and you were inspiring me, and you were doing what entrepreneurs do. You're seeing if I lit up and I was actually going to do something with it.
Yeah.
And as soon as you were clear that it wasn't a good timing for me, you moved on and you moved on.
Yeah.
And you moved on.
Yeah.
So that takes a lot of faith.
Yeah.
Like you said, a year with no income.
Yeah.
What's that like for people?
Extremely uncomfortable.
tell the folks.
Well, I mean, I did a lot of different things. I was in real estate first of all, so I did have some other streams of income, but they were moderate because of this energy shot took a lot of my time, and it took a full-time dedication on less than part-time money. But again, if your vision is clear and you know what you have, it's worth sacrificing eating ramen noodles for a while.
So did you eat a lot of ramen noodles?
Not necessarily, but it was close. Right. But it was one of those things where I had to borrow more money. I had to go back and borrow my rent and my mortgage, and I had to go borrow this, and it was just this, oh my God, I'm going even further backwards, and it sucked. It sucked, but when things started to shift, more that passion that I had to live on for a long time, and that faith I had to live on, started getting fed back. It started getting a little more fed back. You started feeling okay, breathe. Okay, now and all of a sudden you're living on the high of it. You know, you're living on what you built, and you're not going backwards anymore, which is interesting.
So
But it was like I always look at it like a clutch and a gas pedal.
right.
There's always a transition. Like all of a sudden, it's never like pop. You know, it never just pops. It's always like, and then you go, and you never fully appreciate where you're at.
Right.
You always feel like you should be further down on the gas pedal and higher up on the clutch. Does that make sense? You always feel like you should be going a lot faster than you are, but if that transition isn't like this, and where it's painful, but less and less painful, more and more pleasurable, but then you're always adjusting. So it's never going to be like this. Oh, I made it. I'm done. End of the road, Jack. I'm going to go live on a beach. It's just never like that because it just isn't.
Well, that's something.
You're always going to have challenges.
That's something I want because so everybody knows Albert is I've got a small circle of influence by design because I choose to show up for the folks that I choose to have a close relationship with. He's one of them. So I know him very, very well. And we've had midnight phone calls. We've had early morning phone calls. You know, in entrepreneurialism, we save one another's attitude. And frankly, he saved my bacon, you know, a time or two in business. You know, hey, I just need some help. And he's that guy that he'll help you and then ask questions later if even necessary.
Right.
And so I really want to get cleared because part of what I like to bring to the table for folks is we all are clear about the economy, where it's going, you know, the devalued dollar. If you earn $50,000 a year in 1975, it now requires $250,000 to maintain the same standard of living as you had in 1975. And I want people to get really clear about that because a lot of guys like me thought, well, I'm just lazy. I don't have what my folks had. There's a reason for that. So we got to put that aside. But entrepreneurialism is that way to hedge against the economy and all that conspiracy theory bullshit, frankly, of, oh my God, you know, they're out to get us. They're not out to get us. We have a devaluing dollar. There's a reason for that. Let's put that over here. What we're going to talk about is why entrepreneurialism and owning a business is your hedge against it and what it no bullshit takes for you to actually be an entrepreneur. And I'm telling you, some are born. I think we're born. And I think it can be learned. But you have to be very clear that most people don't have the thick skin, the broad shoulders. They get upset or they get their feelings hurt. There's no time for that shit. And with what we're all doing. So we want to put that aside. This is for the entrepreneur who knows he's an entrepreneur, is about to move forward with a business project, whatever that may be. And the no BS that goes on when you're not out pitching your deal, right? Because we go home to wives. Women go home to husbands, to children. And when there's no money, we don't fight over, hey, get these hundreds off the table. We're going to have some chicken. We're fighting over not having enough money. So there's a lot of fear and stuff. And so I want to hear from you, like with your lovely lady, which here she is. This woman is amazing. If you're in the Boise area, here's my pitch. Great real estate agent.
Rochelle,
Rochelle. She's amazing.
Well, I'll go back to the beginning. I actually sold her a cell phone is how I originally met her, which is kind of funny. This was back when I was selling cell phones for a better part of the decade, and she came in on a referral. I had to sell myself on her. You know, I mean, my whole life has been a process of selling to improve my life, and selling is not a bad thing. Selling is just getting what you want and helping other people at the same time get what they want. And sometimes other people don't know what they want, and you have a little clearer picture because either A, you've been there before, or you just know it because you're reaping the benefits of what you're conveying to them or what you want them to buy. And so as far as selling is concerned, you know, that definitely makes sense. But my wife put up with me. I call it putting up, but she calls it probably just loving me, you know, and believing in what I was capable of. There's times where, you know, there were times where I thought, man, one more thing goes wrong here and she's got to be gone, you know, and but she hung in there. She believes in me, and having somebody in your corner like that is huge. And she may not always had verbally edified me like a lot of guys like. We're like little boys inside. We like to hear, "Oh, you're doing a good job." And I didn't get a lot of that from her in that way, but I got a lot of that. She didn't address a lot of things that she could have. She didn't bring up painful things that she knew I was going through. That a lot of women will nag, or what we consider nag as men, but you know, they're just expressing their feelings, but she withheld a lot of that from me and just supported me quietly and by not saying things because she knew I was rattled. She already knew that. So she loved me, continues to love me, and through all the projects I do, and I'm a hard guy to keep up with, and so it took a special woman to because I'm always working on the next project. I'm always looking for a way to add value to stay interested in life. That's just me. I've always got to be doing something fresh or new, and I like building things, but not the necessarily physical labor type building, but I like to build concepts and systems and teams, and so when I find an idea, everyone gets a little easier after the next one. So if you eventually you get these patterns down, and it's just like when Russell and those guys, they do their funnel systems. All I got to know is that there's certain pieces. And once I learn those pieces, and it's just like this next project you're talking about is I have no idea about. I have no clue. Right. But I figured out is the information there is somebody else already done it, and it's so much easier to do something somebody's already done, and you have a coach for it. The energy shop business, I had no coach. I had nobody. It was me. It was me going, what would 5 Hour do? Dude, I mean, that's all I could ask.
And here's the thing, like what you described with, we tell people right up front, when I'm on the phone with people, I'm really just filtering people out. And I'm going to take this shirt off because the air is not circulating the way I thought it would. So, and Michelle, thank you for the feedback that we know that this is live. I'll stop looking at my phone. And but I want people to get clear, when I'm on the phone, I weed people out for Outsourced Lifestyle. That's it, because I don't want to waste their time. I certainly don't want to waste ours. I have a really good friend who's in my wellness coaching program, and we got very clear very quickly. He invested 12 grand into another coaching program, and I said, so what's going on with it? I just haven't invested the time and energy it deserves. Great. That's the question. That's exactly what I need to know, because that tells me that if you're going to invest $2,000 into this program, which creates 6-figure per year incomes inside of 6 months, no BS for some people, asterisk, then we don't need to talk. Come back in 6 months or 30 days when you're clear. And so we ended the phone call as friends, because we're friends. But now something else I tell people on the calls when I'm vetting and I'm weeding out, finding if it's a fit, because that's my role, is does your wife support you? Now, I know if women are on the phone with me that they run the show, guys admit it, they do. They make us think that we run the show. Women run the show, period. So if you're in a sales scenario like we are on a daily basis, which is we're weeding out and inviting, that's it. If the wife is not in charge or on the phone call with a guy, get her on the phone call, period, or don't move forward, period. A woman, you can take her word for it. She's going to make the decision right then and there. So there you go. There's some tips. But here's the other aspect. Rochelle's, she's not easy. I know her. She's an amazing chick, but she's made it very clear to Albert, these things need to happen. And if she wasn't supportive, could you have possibly done that? If she was negative, if she was negging you every night, you came home, it's like, what the hell, where's the rent?
Yeah. I mean, we had some of those conversations, but it wasn't. It wasn't to a detriment. I mean, it was just her expressing herself. But I think she knew in her heart of hearts that I was doing it to make our life better. I mean,
she knows your heart, what you're up to.
She knew what I was doing was the right thing. It's just the results hadn't caught up yet.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It makes total sense.
She knew because she bought into my vision of it too, and she started seeing things happen. And they need a little win here and there. And if you can't get them a win, that sucks. But if you can get them a little win, you gotta have the talk of, hey, the wins aren't going to come like that. Right. It's not instant gratification. And women emotionally need a quick fix. They do. They need to feel safe, and I get that. And a lot of times they have to put that safety button away because they want to hit it all the time. Like, I want to feel safe. Well, you're not going to feel safe for a while, so box it up, hide it, lock it up for a minute, and not feel safe for a while.
Yeah.
And that's a character thing, and that's not always something that everybody has. But I got to say that I was fortunate enough that she was able to put a panic button away for a little while.
Well, and here's something that I observed again, because entrepreneurs take care of entrepreneurs, and we're watching and we support because we know there's going to come those times where it's just like we're out at the tank's empty. We're having a hard time walking in faith and seeing the big picture because we've been out there. Here's what an entrepreneur does. Like Jason he's the guy who's taken the machete and just chopped out the tall brush. and made it really nice and smooth for everybody who wants to drop ship to move forward. So he's had the machete with Rhino Rush and a lot of other projects. And it was what I saw him do to support Rochelle was, and I saw it on Facebook, is he was taking her to dinners. He was taking the kids to the zoo, and he's posting these pictures up. He's honoring the relationship. He gets to be an entrepreneur. He gets to have all that comes with it, which is some challenging conversations with his spouse. You know, because you do take away time from kids. You do take away time from your spouse. You do put, you know, this question of what's next, which we feel comfortable with. They don't. And so he poured a lot of appreciation on her. And I learn from him all the time that, you know, it's not just a part of a business strategy. He really deeply honors the relationship. And so I saw you do that, and I have to offer that.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
So
yeah, it was as important as what I was doing, if not more, because, you know, you do it for that.
Yeah.
So you got to remember why you're doing it. You don't do it because you're chasing a certain dollar figure, you know, although that is part of it. What you're really chasing is that a feeling, and that's where a lot of Anthony Robbins training and stuff like that is that you can feel things before you actually experience them on the outside.
Talk about that.
And
you can feel things. Because there are people, we talk about patterns and doors that open up and little universe nudges that somebody like, oh, what was that? No, listen to those. That's your guide.
Yeah, acting as if is not a fake thing.
Right.
Acting as if is a real thing. Right. Acting as if you have already done it gets it for you. I mean, I got to say, if there's one secret to anything I've ever done successfully, is that I've already believed it happened. And so I dress, today's casual, but I dress like I see the people that have what I want dress. I speak as best as I can like that. And you just model success. And there's tons of examples in the world. Look at all the libraries. I mean, the books. You look behind Troy, he's got mountains of resources, and that's the kind of person you got to be. You got to be open to learning. You got to be open to changing your style a little bit. And you're not gonna mold it. It's gonna mold you. I think, because and if you can fall in line with the truths of it, find that there's rituals and there's certain outcomes that you get, but you just have to stay open to learning and becoming different and more, but not changing necessarily who you are as a person, but just your behaviors.
Truly.
And then that will happen, but that comes from just a desire to want more. You'll do it, and believing it. Again, getting clear. And then you'll just act the way you need to.
You said so much right there, because a lot of people think, well, I'm just going to be a business person. Well, you know, and what we talk about a lot is we take lessons to learn how to swing a baseball bat. We learn how to swing a golf club. We take lessons to drive a car. We'll take lessons for, you know, we have to go through the phase of learning how to do mortgages. We go to school to become a real estate agent. But we feel like we're supposed to just figure out and know how we're supposed to communicate and honor our relationships, intimate and business, and all of them. It is a skill-based game, and it is a game. It's fun, but it's incredibly serious. And so the thing, like you talk about books, I want to show folks, anybody who's going into business, and it's going to be a big business, and you're going to bring in other partners, get that book, To Be or Not to Be Intimidated. All this book is about, sorry to cover your face, Albert. This is this book is about honoring and how to deal around the boardroom table negotiating big deals. Your business, like if you're drop shipping, it's not really going to be, you're not going to be pinning massive deals just with drop shipping, but Jason's dealing with this. And we all need to learn this. It's really to understand people's different archetypes and personality styles, so that you can show up and honor that somebody like me 20 years ago, I had the best of intentions. I'm going to be there for you, brother. I'm going to make it happen. I didn't have a clue what that meant, what I was going to have to show up as. Best of intentions, and other people got hurt. Not just my partners, their wives, their families. It took time out of their capacity to recreate and do something moving forward. It's important you get clear about who you're doing business with. You honor their super ninja skill set, but very much support their weaknesses, because that's what I'm clear about now. We lay it on the line, right?
Yeah, I've got to take a quick break.
Yeah, go ahead. I want to show you guys some more books that, you know, it's no doubt about it. You are what you associate with. And there was a time in my life where, and I tell people very openly, you know, I drank too much. And it was a way to distract myself from not knowing how to be a good husband, not knowing how to be a great dad. And so rather than getting the skill sets, because in my family, in my household, to ask a question meant you were stupid. Boys don't ask questions. Buck up, Nancy. You don't cry. That kind of crap about killed me. And so the point of that is when I kind of dovetailed there, the recovery thing, that was my way of dealing with stuff. But when I finally hit rock bottom, which I did in 2003, and I got clear that there was a pattern for living, a design for living. And so whether it's a 12-step program, it's a counselor, a therapist, if it's a book, it's going to tell you how that there's a design for living, and then you get to participate. You choose to participate, or you choose to reap the outcomes of that decision. And not choosing is choosing, and we all deserve. We are personally responsible for everything that's going on in our lives. And God, I love to be a victim and just bleh, it's their fault. No, you've got to surround yourself with people who will hold you accountable and be courageous enough to stand out and say, you might think you know what the F's going on, but you might consider that you haven't got a clue how you are being perceived in the market. People take that personally and emotionally, like it's a bad thing, like they're getting beat down or they're getting made fun of. If somebody has the courage to share that with you, they still love you enough to actually courageously say it. Because I promise you this, there are people in all of our lives that they love us, but they don't know how to deal with us because they have seen patterns over and over again that they may have brought up, that we got defensive, that they're not willing to take on that type of energy that we throw at them anymore. Still love us. Doesn't mean that they want to do business with us, or that because we're not even open to listening to their outside perspective. And so what are some of the most amazing, powerful things is Stephen Covey talks about it. Tony Robbins talks about it. Jarek talks about it. Find some people and say, what do you see in me that I don't see in myself that you think would make a radical difference in my life, and I can honor this relationship further and have a more fruitful life? Courageous question. Even more courageous is to take that feedback in, right? When I'm on the phone with Gerald Hill and Jason O'Neill, it sounds like somebody looking in would say, oh my God, they're so mad, they're mean, he's being so mean. No, we're being direct and clear, and we're guiding each other to fine tune it. Steel sharpens steel. So you either hang out with steel or you don't. And associations matter. These are my books. The point I was making with the recovery thing is I came to a place where I couldn't have people over to my house with a cooler full of their beer that I didn't drink. But having it around, that energy always kept me going back out and back out and back out. And finally, when I rode that insanity merry-go-round, for the final time, it's like, I got to change stuff. I got to follow direction. And I stopped inviting people to my house for Boise State football games and Jimmy Buffett and grilling. I love that stuff. I got alone for about a year, and I got a yellow notepad, just like this one. And I wrote down, I need a strong male mentor in my life. And he showed up. It's a whole story behind that. I need to be friends with Russell Brunson. We happen to live in the same town, and that showed up. And I just started designing my life and visualizing where I wanted to go. And so associations aren't just people out of the gates, it's books. This is one of the best books you will find. You need to, if you are into full-on internet marketing and that's the direction you're going, Russell Brunson's the man. He's the man, right? I think this one. No, this isn't the copy. I got a signed copy because he's my friend. That's cool. So there's that. Asking it is given. You want to learn that law of attraction? Oh, there's a hell of a lot of work that goes behind the law of attraction. You can't just bliss out and think it's just going to drop on your head. I don't think anybody's that enlightened. You got to work for it. This is a book that shows you how to do that. You got to know a little lost knowledge of the ancients. Graham Hancock wrote for, I believe it was The Economist. But he's a historian. He asks really great questions. So this is kind of fascinating. History does repeat itself. And I'm just pulling these off just as they're laying across my back shelf here. 4 Hour Body, because I love coaching and wellness, and I love Tim Ferriss. Great book. Supple Leopard, How to Move for Longevity so you can be 80 years old and still be hanging out with your kids and great grandkids hiking mountains. Right? I think these are, let's see. for me, and I want to show you guys this stuff. This is another great book. I want you guys, and then we'll go past the book phase. The Rise of Superman. Get that book, man. It's about kinesthetics. It's about how you can heal yourself through motion and being in flow. Much of what we do is about being in flow. How do you get into flow? Why is it that Glenn Plake, one of the original extreme skiers in the 90s, before going off one of the most dangerous couloirs, hit a little lip and did a 360 just before he went off? He explains it in this book why he did that. If he would just go off the couloir straight down into this rocky, narrow place with his skis, it could have more than likely killed himself. But by going in and doing something radically risky just before going off, he put himself into flow. So he could handle something much more dangerous by getting into flow state first. So it's important that people understand that's possible. Ho'oponopono. Y'all heard of Ho'oponopono? Ho'oponopono is about, we're all connected. I'll give you the short and skinny. This is a book called Zero Limits by Joe Vitale. Great marketer. And he really does explain Ho'oponopono well here. Hugh Lin was a doctor / metaphysician in Hawaii, had radical, incredible results, helping people move through blocks and having a clean, juicy, fun life. So there was an institution in Hawaii that dealt with people with mental challenges, schizophrenia, paranoia, and this is a true story. And don't take my word for it. Look it up. And they said, Hugh Lin, will you come in and will you work for us? We need your help. And he said, no, I'm not going to do it. They kept on him. Persistence is key. Another tip. And finally said, okay, I'll work with you, but I'll never show up on site. I'll never show up at the institution. I'll never drive there, park there, come inside and do work. And they're like, nah, we'll never work. And they stayed persistent. And they finally, it's like, well, what do we need to do? He says, listen, I'll show up. He says, but I will not see personally one client. Okay. And so they agreed. He shows up at this institution, and all he said is, I want you to bring me the files of the individuals that you want me to work with. And they did. They brought him the files, and they went through, and he just went through what he called cleansing that file. And he wasn't healing that person. He's not trying to heal you. He's healing himself. And I'm not going to butcher it. I want you guys to pick up the book and go through it and understand the process. But here's the big coup de grace. He worked on those files. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And I got him out of line, but that's really what it was. Because all of the stuff that we see in other people are reflections of things that we are possible and capable and have experienced. It's our shadow self. And so by Hugh Lin doing that, within 1 year, they had open campus. Their population had radically declined because people were getting well and leaving the institution. Right? You never saw a client. Doesn't that make you curious about what the heck's going on there? So when we talk about energy, it's real. And don't get into the quackery of things. Don't take my word for it. Ask people the question, how do you know that? And don't take their word for it. Back it up with research. Don't ask the question you don't already know the answer to. Sometimes, not always. You got to be able to ask things you don't know. But, this is something I got from Daryl Hill. More books, The Holographic Universe. That's important stuff. I got the 5-minute journal, fastest way to get into gratitude and raise your vibration, and you have gratitude and celebration on a daily basis for your business and your life. Way of the SEAL. This guy is Mark Devine's a stud. He's a Navy SEAL. He teaches you what has to happen as a SEAL and honoring commitments, and it also is for life and business. Why is it that Navy SEALs and military people like Daryl Hill can come into a company like Outsource Lifestyle and he can streamline it and help go to that next level? Because they have disciplines and they understand that the mission's first and the troops are a very, very close second. But let's face it, the mission's first. And this isn't about life and death in business. It's about the life and extension of your business. If someone's got to go, they got to go. Take care of them, point them in the right direction. But if they're not part of your team, they got to go. You guys got to get clear about that. And then last 3 books. And this will give you, and I just share this with you so you have an idea of what it is that, I'm not alone with this, man. I read very few books compared to some entrepreneurs. Daryl Hill photo reads. I've learned to photo read. And literally photo reading is, you can go 2 lines this way, backward, this way. So you can literally read a book about that fast, okay? Possible. The Ultimate Sales Machine, we're using this as a guide for the map being drawn for Outsourced Lifestyle. And Daryl Hill is the helm of that. So we're all following in, like Chet Holmes. You guys got to get that. And then if you have friends like mine, you leave their place out in Annapolis with a book like that in your briefcase. Maybe a suggestion, maybe a little, you know, might be a reason that that's in your bag, right? So that book, and there's something that I think most people, why is it that we can bring somebody into Outsourced Lifestyle or any business, and Joe here goes and crushes it and creates a 6-figure per year income in 6 months, and Mary or Jerry, they just story themselves out of it and they fail. I think that really it's this book changed things for me. It's A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. Get the book. Get the book, read the book, and start to really give it care about yourself. And it'll be a big game changer. Understand that there's a lot that goes into being an entrepreneur, and it's not for everybody, but it's for everybody, you know, that wants to do things differently. And be willing to take the hits. You know, we've been told through media since my little butt was plopped in front of Sesame Street. A lot of people don't realize that, you know, I was actually raised by Morgan Freeman, you know, black guy from Shawshank Redemption. And yeah, you know, Sesame Street, that's where you got to start. And that's where we started getting programmed about the way things are, that, you know, you got to wear red tough skins, not green tough skins. You know, you're not cool enough, you have red hair. That was me. And we start to get all these labels, and we start being told that everything's outside us. If we had this, we'd be better. If this happens and when this happens, then you'll be okay. And that's not the truth about us. We came here with all the equipment necessary that created radios, TVs, all this amazing technology that people Google and all about. They watch sci-fi and, you know, Iron Man movies, and they see all that stuff. Where did that stuff come from? Right here. You know, right here. Right? And so I want people to understand, and this part of my mission is to help people start using that, become responsible again. Start listening to more Terrence McKenna, some more Alan Watts, plug into Joe Rogan's show. You know, these are the cool, intelligent, no bullshit people who are out there in the market today saying it like it is. You don't have to agree with them, but you definitely have to listen to them, right? Aubrey Marcus owns Onnit, one of the best human optimization nutrition companies. Aubrey Marcus is one of the cool new guys out there who is deeply entrenched into the mechanics and the how of how our minds work. Because y'all might think that you can just force things and just to happen. It's not it. It all starts here. It all starts between the ears and the mind, right? Which is connected to everything. And I want you to also look out there for Michael Bledsoe. Mike Bledsoe, Barbell Shrugged. Check him out on YouTube. One of the coolest podcasts there is, I think. Fun, lots of cussing, you know, but a lot of solution and a lot of no BS around fitness and life. That's what's happening in the world. And I think that that's where we're at with the new paradigm is, you know, there is a way to do life, man. And you just have to be clear that, like, there's sun. If you equate the sunshine to feeling good and happy, and you equate dark and night and storms as sad, it's the same way. And we've been told that to feel bad and to have pain is not right. And so there's a pill for that. It's bullshit. It is absolute bullshit. You know, you sit around long enough, those clouds will pass. You won't be so depressed. You'll be so sick of being miserable, sitting on your couch, being a victim. That pretty soon it'll just be it's like a little kid. Like, I'm done. Let's do something else. Right? Wait long enough. Still go do something stupid in the meantime. Like I had that MO, man. I was like, I just gotta react, get out. You know, satiate my craving for not being enough, which is a bullshit story. So that's really ultimately what it's about for me and sharing this moving forward, you guys. My commitment on this Troy Olds Live, which is a direct, you know, this is part of something that I've always wanted. I love language. And there was one point in my life where I destroyed my nervous system and was so stressed out that I couldn't read something, a paragraph, 5-10 times and remember it 10 minutes later. That scared the heck out of me. And so I created a wellness company to help people with their mind, optimum nutrition for the brain. You know, I studied and I researched and I used myself as that guinea pig to heal myself. And I just know that other people who are beating their heads against the wall trying to start a business, being told it's easy. It's not easy. Hardest thing you'll ever do. Test you in more ways than you can possibly imagine. And another book. Oh no. Okay. Check it out. Check it out. Voila. My signed copy. Russell Brunson. Love you, Russell. Joseph Campbell. It no longer is a boiler room poster on my wall. And Glenn Ross, copies for closers. Put that copy down, and brass balls and this Wolf of Wall Street stuff. Oh, by the way, just so you know, we got all that stuff. We study what works. We study language patterns and NLP. I got Neil Strauss's book, The Game, and I got Neil Strauss's book, The Truth. His redemption book for the evil that he put out in the world for the game for pickup artists, and he's good at it. Jordan Belfort, we got the Wolf of Wall Street's training program. We invested thousands of dollars into this. Actually, Russell did. Thank you, Russell. Joseph Campbell. Understand why Star Wars and Rocky were so successful. Rocky beat out The Godfather, for God's sake. Listen to, go YouTube Tony Robbins' story about Sylvester Stallone and what it took for him to create Rocky. He followed that inner voice. He followed his bliss, and it was a bitch for him, painful. But he followed his bliss, and now he's Sylvester Stallone. Rocky's famous. It follows Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. And so for all of you who are going to go down this path as entrepreneurs, for God's sake, understand why it is that you have that voice inside you that you can't turn off, that you won't forget, that will haunt you till the day you die, unless you move forward into your bliss. You know, I went to the hot springs this weekend with my son and listening to Joseph Campbell, some interviews, and I got clear that just because you have that call, it doesn't mean that it's going to make you rich. And I got very clear because of the people I associate with, and people saying, dude, you're being crazy. You're not being prolific. Dude, you're not following the standard cut and dry. This is going to make you money process. And I was confused because, like, listen, here's the deal. My hero's journey is to wake people up, to be a part of, for those who are ready and want help, to give them the no bullshit. This is what it's going to take, and pull them out and show them tools, resources, people, and strategies for them to actually live their hero's journey, which might be about earning a lot of money. Mine just happens to be one that it causes a lot of friction. I challenge a lot of the status quo. I piss people off. And because for me, it's not about the money, because for me to stop being authentic and starting to bullshit you and just to get into your wallet, get my money out of your back pocket, which is a lot of marketers feel and they think and they repeat. So young guys make poor choices to bring the wrong person in, to fail, which is now going to affect their spouse and their children, and this ripple effect. Understand that we live in an energetic world that absolutely everything comes back to us. Everything. And so if you're going to go down this path of entrepreneurialism, just be clear, you're going to get your teeth kicked in. But guess what? You'll grow new ones. And Joseph Campbell is going to guide you. I would say get the audiobooks, the interviews off Audible, like I've got. Get the Hero with 1,000 Faces. Get it to everyone in your crew. And understand that this is a mountain with no top. You'll never graduate, but it gets juicier the entire way. The more you get into the flow of your river, the river, doing what you're uniquely supposed to do. And then it's not about the money. It's not about anything other than you following your bliss. How cool is that? And then this, for those of you who know about A Course in Miracles, the book that, the study course that Mary Ann Williamson wrote this book regarding, and wrote the poem, Our Deepest Fear, which is right here. And, you know, this is a different podcast. This is my podcast or my show. I get to do what I want. I want you guys to really listen to this. This came from the book, A Return to Love by Mary Ann Williamson. It wasn't by anyone else. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our dark, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, well, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God, whatever that looks like for you. You're playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that others won't feel insecure around you, right? We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone, in you. And as we let our light shine, and that, by the way, as we let our light shine, people will give you labels. He's cocky, he's arrogant, he's narcissist, blah, blah, blah. As we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from what? It's all it's about, fear and love, baby. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. There's so much in that. And it's not easy, because when you are living authentically, you will run against friction, because you're no longer running with the herd, you're running kind of sideways, and pretty soon, like most of us, we're directly against it. And to live any other way would be a horror, just a crime to us. So when we listen to Under Pressure by Queen and David Bowie, and we drive against traffic in the morning, people are gridlocked in traffic, the sun's not even up, and they're just like leaving the people that they love to go to work inch by inch, to go to boxes and fluorescent lights, to do things they don't really enjoy. And you play Under Pressure by Queen, David Bowie. Do that and realize how blessed you are if you're driving to the hot springs during the week, or skiing during the week. You get to golf during the week. There's nobody there, you guys. They're working, right? You're going to work your face off as a business owner, just the way it is. But you are going to be blessed because of it, because who you become, becoming a business owner, and it's not about the money or the destination. If you still think that, keep your freaking job and stay the hell out of this pool, because we don't want you. I'm serious. But if you're willing to go through what it takes, jump in and get that book, Why Your Life Sucks, and what you can do about it. That's another book written much like A Return to Love, two different ways of promoting A Course in Miracles. But dive in, do your work, keep things compartmentalized into the next right step, the essentials. Get the book Compound Effect by Darren Hardy and just dive in. Find some people that you love that will support you in your magic. Not that they're going to just like constantly be like, oh my God, they're weird or crazy or rubbing you the wrong way. Get with your people. It'll take you some time. And then just go to work. And it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Because it already is. It never wasn't. But the inventions we made of ourselves and the labels we've created for ourselves and for others has kept us so separate from the truth of us, all of us, that it's a process now to get back to that which you already have always been. Perfect. You're whole and complete. So I don't want to turn this into a church talk. I do a lot of talks, and I love it more than pretty much anything other than creating media, high vibration media, that just by being in its presence actually heals you, which I've got power. Yeah. All right, another one. Don't give up on this book. Power versus Force by David Hawkins. Wayne Dyer's favorite book. Any Metaphysician's real powerful book about energy. Understand that it's fear and love, guys, and it all has a vibration, and we attract that which we are. Some days when I'm really tired, and I'm going to wrap this conversation up with this. The best thing I can do is to get away from everybody, to go dump an entire bag of Epsom salt into a bath with some bubbles and a candle, and listen to, I don't know, some Naco or some Ray LaMontagne, or some Sturgill Simpson, and just chill out, breathe, and do my best to take my brain that sometimes locks into resentment, fear, lack, and just sit there and breathe and relax until I'm finally starting to feel light and the appreciation of all those people that I was resentful for, which all they are is teachers. And they were courageous enough to show up in your life as the person who sued you. They were courageous enough to show up in your life as the person who fired you. Those are your gifts and your lessons if you just allow that, okay? And so that's the best thing I can do sometimes, is just get away from everybody, take care of myself so I can show up for you. Don't buy into that bullshit. We complete each other. That's bullshit. That's kindergarten, and good luck with that. I know where that one goes. Lived it. We take care of ourselves so we can show up for the people in our lives. And you got to know exactly what it looks like. No time for bullshit. I want to clean out. I want to clean out all the bullshitters to make it sound easy. It's not easy. It's hard. And it's worth it because it's life. This is no dress rehearsal. This is it for you. This is it for me. Every day that we wake up, we're living the life that we have. It's not anywhere tomorrow, right? That's the thing I think it's really important for people to get clear. When I was at a landmark education course, and the guy just said, you know, there's all these questions people have. Is there really a heaven? Is there really a hell? Where do I go before? Where do I go? I said, look, here's the deal. This is it. You guys right here on this webinar, and in that case, it was you 100 people in this auditorium, in your chair. This is it. This is your life. Right now, with me, listening to me or watching me, this is it. It's not on the other side of your business or in the new car or when your kids do this. This is your life. And I want to wrap it with that. Be clear about this. What you do next, how you show up out here with what you do, regardless of what's going on in your head. And what I mean by that is when somebody needs help in AA and they say, my ass is falling off at 2 in the morning, the first thing that I think of is, F you. I want to just roll over and go back to sleep. But I made a commitment. That's not what I do. I reach out and I do whatever the next step is, and I'll go serve on somebody. But in my head says, fuck you. Pardon me, but fuck you. I just want to go to sleep. And then I get my ass out of bed and I put on my shoes and I get a cup of coffee and I go meet with another human being because that's my life and that's what I do. So I want y'all to get clear about what it is that you're doing in your life and showing up for it, and what it matters that every choice that you make today has a ripple effect. And I want every choice you make, if you're making a commitment, to go into your calendar like I've had to really learn recently and still continue to learn. Because if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. And I want you to honor every person that you work with, that you come in contact with, and work on being kind. So that's it. Round 2's over. Albert's still on the phone. He's working it. And I would really love some feedback, you guys. Put some comments in this stuff. You know, I want to make this better and better. I want to make it more tuned for you, what the market wants. And if it's too far out of what I want to share with the world, then I'm going to go fishing. I got a place in Belize with my partner. Not my place. Let's get clear. But he checked out, sold off a bunch of Jiffy Lubes and oil and money and stress, and he lives pulling mangoes off the tree in Belize and showering in waterfalls. And sounds pretty nice, you guys. So if there's not enough folks out there who say, hey, I'm interested, I like what you have to say, for me to keep doing this, I'm going fishing. So I appreciate you guys. I'd love to stay doing this. I think there's more people like me out there, like you, who we just need to share. We need to hear not what we hear, but what we feel. And I hope that this particular show gave a feeling out there that will attract more people, and we can build on this, and we can all partner with Joe Rogan and Aubrey Marcus, and we can hang out with Eddie Vedder, and we can have Eddie score projects that we do, waking up more folks, doing what we love. Let's get the money out of the way, know who we become in the process of it, and then find our passions and live it fully. And when those people that you leave your house for every day show up again today, look them in the eye and listen to them. Give them a hug, touch them, because that's why we do this, right? Guys, have a fabulous one, man, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch. So every Tuesday, take care.